All right, welcome back everybody. And we can see that I have this table of contents up and we're headed to the West Southern Edition. And so we're going to be starting on page 338 going to 347. So one of the things I want to highlight in this section is that the textbook, yeah, sure, it does a great job. It again gives us really detailed instructions. But I want to carry us through kind of a workflow that has some efficiency to it. And so the textbook, to start with, on page 338, the first thing it's going to do is have us change these walls to the no parapet type. Okay, pretty straightforward to do. I collect my three walls, then I choose in my properties that I want to change them to without parapet. Okay, so step one completed. And then the textbook is going to ask us to navigate to a floor plan view. And I'll do that. I'm going to navigate to my level 1 model. And Revit is going to ask us to create a new view that's looking at this southern edition. And I'm going to suggest, since we're modeling, we should use our model views. And I have this couple of these basic southern views. So if I select this view that's on A102, I can see that I look right at that southern wall. My view actually goes to the back side of the building. I'm going to see everything I need to see by just utilizing an existing view. So I'm going to utilize this view to work in. And then the textbook is going to ask us to draw a reference plane across here. And we're going to use that reference plane to work on. And I'm going to suggest that that doesn't make any sense because we already have a wall and we can use the wall itself as our work plane. So that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do right now is navigate to this view. I see it. And let's see, actually, you know what? I'm going to use the basic model south view, right? In my floor plan or my view range, I have all of these basic views that have never been put on a sheet. So I'm going to go to my south view, and here's the building. And of course, in this, I can see the whole building. I don't have to adjust the view at all. It's a modeling view. So we're already ready to start creating our roof. So this time we're going to use something called roof by extrusion. And because I'm in an elevation, Revit doesn't know where I want to draw my 2D elements coming into or out of the screen. I need to define a work plane. So I'm going to choose pick a plane and click OK. The textbook was saying that we wanted to choose a name, and we would have had a reference plane here that we had named, and we could have selected that. So I'm going to choose pick a plane, OK, and I'm going to, I guess, make sure that I can, in my toggle selections, choose the surface of a wall. And I'm just going to choose the surface of this wall. So I'm now working on the surface of this wall, and Revit is asking me what level do I want to be working on. And I must say I'm not really sure what I want to work on. Let's see. And I just looked in my file, and I want to use raw parapet. That's interesting that it actually comes up correct. So the parapet level is this level right here. And I want my offset to be 0. I'm fine with that. All right, so I'll click OK. And so if you turn to page 342, you're going to see that we are going to want to make 3 clicks to draw our arched roof that we're going to put in. In fact, if you haven't looked, actually, you should look at page 345 or 346 to get a sense of where we're headed. So we're going to create this big arc, and then we're going to extrude an arc that looks like a roof to make that arched roof. And we're going to want to use this command that gives us start, end, and radius. So we're going to want to pick an area here to start. We're going to pick an area here for our second click, and then we're going to pick an elevation up here that will kind of define where the top quadrant of that arc is. And so again, the textbook is going to take us through here and have us create 3 unique reference planes. And I'm going to suggest that, well, I'm not doing it. I am going to simply draw some lines. I'm going to draw some construction geometry. Here is the middle of my, that's not going to work so well. So let's see. So if I'm drawing some lines, how about if I pick that line? It's still not going to work. So I'm going to draw a line so that I get the full width of the roof here. And I'm going to draw 2 simple lines kind of coming down. One from the left and one from the right. And then I'm going to start to use my offset command. So offset, and I want to go 4 feet up. So I'm going to enter 4 in my options, approach that line, and I have this line. And then I want to go 3 feet to the left and 3 feet to the right. So I get an offset off to the right and an off to the left, excuse me, and then off to the right. So I now have an opportunity to make 3 selections here. So I'm going to click the intersection that's here, the intersection that's here, and the midpoint of this line. Here's my arc command. There's my first point. Here's my second point. And as long as I come in here and find the midpoint, that's going to be the end of my arc. So now my arc's drawn, but I have all this extra construction line stuff that I drew. So I need to make sure that I clean up my sketch, of course, and I'm going to delete those construction lines. So I simply select them all, press delete, and what I'm left with is the one arc that the textbook is asking us to create. Okay, so I've got some options here, and once I click the green check mark, right, this is my sketch, I'm still going to be in the roof command, and watch what happens. I guess not. So I have an extrusion start and an extrusion end. So I'm going to leave my start at 0, right, it's even what the textbook says, and put my end at -2 feet. And I click the green check mark, and guess what? I actually have a roof. To even begin to understand what I have, let's go look at it in 3D. And this is an area that's pretty similar to what the textbook is asking for. So the left edge is my start, the right edge is that finish. And so if I just select my roof, I can adjust the start and finish. And to make ours match the textbook, I actually want to start it at -1.5 feet. I guess positive 1.5 feet. So that I get some protection of the wall out front. And on the back, I want it to go back to this wall. And so I kind of need to understand what that value is. So let's see, if I go to let's see, I'm going to think about how to measure that real quick, and I'll come back in a second. Alright, welcome back. Sorry to put you on pause like that. Kind of got stuck here a second ago. So what I need to know is, what is the distance from the back edge of this roof over to the wall? And notice if I select the roof, the way I control how far this wall moves is by the property of the extrusion end. So I kind of want to know an exact number so that I can enter that correctly over here. So how do I get there? I put you on pause so I do know, but here's how I would suggest from here. I'm going to go to my level 1 model again, and I notice that in this level 1 model, right, I have this view that's looking directly into this perpendicular view from my roof, and I'm like, oh, that's a perfect view. I can measure what I need in that view. So I'll activate it. Here is my roof. Here is the wall that I'm interested in. Use the measure tool, and I find that it is 23 feet. So whatever the end of my roof extrusion is now, I want to add 23 feet to it. So I'll come over here, click in. It's currently at -2 feet, and I want to increase it by 23 feet. So I'm going to go to -25, and that roof projects back. It's now right at the adjoining wall. I look at things in 3D, and all right, so what do you think I need to do to finish this roof? Yep, that's right. I need to select these 3 walls. And by the way, if you look closely in here, you can see the wall does not come all the way up to the roof. So I select those 3 walls, choose to attach them to the arched roof. They progress up, and I actually have a bit of a watertight building construction. Okay, roof number 2 is complete, and we will come back in the next section and begin to work on the roof over here in the corridor. Hope this is helpful, adds a little bit of clarity in tools that we're using, and I want us to get comfortable doing much more than just following the textbook, but understanding where we're going and what tools we have available to ourselves to get where the textbook wants us to go. All right, look forward to chatting in the corridor section, and that may take a couple different sections. There's a bit of complication in there. And of course, I love that stuff, so we'll see you in the next section.